Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if we can, let's all stand up for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to start out this meeting tonight with let's just take a couple moments of silence in remembrance of the Chardon shooting 2-year anniversary. Thank you. Okay. I'm Ralph Spitaleri. This is Blake Rear, Mary Samiti, Dave Blair, and Christine Blair. We've got a nice full house of people here tonight, and thank you very much for coming out and being part of our first evening meeting. This has been long coming, and we're all pretty grateful to be able to be here tonight. And a lot of familiar faces here, and a lot of people that first time we met. So thank you for struggling through the wonderful northeastern Ohio weather and being over here. So I'd like to get this meeting started tonight, where we will say the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute the minutes for the meeting of February 25th, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Absent.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rear?
Aye.
Absent. Okay.
Kathy's here. Yeah, Kathy's going to come up and explain
Kathy's
that.
here.
Okay.
Number 2.
On number 2, we've Kathy. Thank you, Kathy.
Hello?
Hi, young lady.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for that. Okay, well, I'm here tonight to talk about a prescription drug card. The county currently offers a prescription drug card to all residents in Geauga County. And we get that drug card through our NACO program. We pay dues to belong to NACO, and we primarily joined NACO so that we could offer this card to our residents. The card is basically for uninsured or for drugs that are not covered by a group insurance. In reviewing, though, during these last few years, I should go back and say that we started that in 2009. We rolled that out in 2009. And they basically sent us cards, and we had them strategically placed in different places throughout the county, and residents could take advantage of that, could also go online and take advantage of that. But since then, we have noticed that there's quite a few other organizations that offer discount cards free of charge instead of the $1,868 dues that we pay. So we decided to do some research on that. And we came up with a company called ProAct. They're out of New York. And they're offering a discount card for all Geauga County residents, free of charge to the county, free to the residents, no dues. What we particularly liked about this organization is that they will actually send out the cards to the residents' mailboxes. So they're looking to send out 40,000 cards. The Geauga County residents can, again, it's primarily for use for uninsured and underinsured residents, or even if you have a pet that's on insulin, like I personally did, or any kind of pet meds, you can get discounts on those. For people who are under a group health care plan, and say, for example, there's a drug that is not covered, it'll kick in. And what we're hearing, and from the references that we've talked to who are using the ProAct card, the discounts are substantial. It can be up to 50% off of a drug card. So we really can't find any reason not to do this and change our strategy here. It would just be a matter of canceling our NACO card and going with a different organization. But we think it would be a really wonderful thing to offer to all the residents, and we're kind of really excited about it. It's kind of a neat thing to be able to offer, and again, free of charge to the county, free of charge to the participants, no enrollment requirements. every household will receive a card. And there's a lot of participating pharmacies. We checked those out as well. They gave us a list of the pharmacies, and all the big ones are in there, and even little ones. And so we think it would be an excellent addition and a really good benefit to the residents of Geauga County.
Does that cover, other than dogs, would it also cover horses?
Yes.
I'm asking for you.
Yes, if your animal if they need some kind of medication that is kind of like a people med, definitely, yes.
That's kind of nice over there.
Kathy, if I remember when I sat in when the gentleman was here,
Yes.
for those in the audience, the reason the representative of this company is not here, the reason the representative is not here is he lives in Syracuse, New York, and was going to drive down here today from Syracuse.
We called him and told him to stay home.
And then drive back, and we thought, well, why don't you just stay there? But if I remember correctly, to ensure the confidentiality of this, it's all done through them, right? That we don't have access as with the county.
To utilization.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Right.
we do not.
The card comes from them,
Right,
the card holder uses it at the pharmacy, transactions, the type of drug or medication that they get and so on is confidential between them, the pharmacy, and this company that exists in some other state that pays the bills.
that's exactly true. And the only thing I think the county would receive is a report on the amount of savings that we have seen through the discounts. That, I believe, is something that they're going to offer. NACO did that as well. Absolutely no names attached.
Right, no way to identify or compromise anyone's privacy.
No. The other thing is that the card can be used in a donut hole. I'm sure that some people in this audience might be aware of the Medicare Part D, where you reach a certain amount and then it no longer covers your prescriptions. This might be a good venue to use that card in that interim.
Okay, thank you.
And as far as for the audience, if they wanted to get some more, information on this, who do we have them contact?
Yeah, we definitely have a website. Let me get that for you. Well, we definitely have a phone number. I mean, until this is approved and we hand over the contract and everything, I don't know if we can call it right now, but the phone number is 877-776-2285.
And we could also put that information on our website.
Yeah.
We definitely will.
Okay.
And let me go on to say that if you decide that you want to go forth with this, what they're going to do, okay, I'll give you one of these. They're going, this is what the card, this is kind of mock-up of what the card would look like. We can do anything we'd like. We could, we have your logo on the second page there, but this is kind of what we want to tell the residents about the card. It'll have a VIN number, it'll have a number for them. There should be, yes, the proactsavingscard.com, the website is on there, so people can actually call, for example, if they don't get a card. I know sometimes, you know, that may happen if there's a P.O. box or something like that. So we can put this on our website for the county, and we can have that website for members too. And what we're really hoping to do is have you, if you decide to approve this today, to approve the contract, if you would look at this and we can, within maybe a week, get back with ProAct, and hopefully maybe by March 27th, by our next evening meeting, we can say we're ready to roll, the cards are being sent, and that's what we're kind of looking at.
Okay.
Okay. And one other thing too, with this card comes some other discounts, a vision discount. It's just for like frames, lenses, and eye exams, up to 50% off and 20% off. Again, this can't be used with any other card. And the county really doesn't offer a vision plan for our employees, for example. I mean, our vision plan falls under our medical plan, so this would be good for them as well, because there is no like iFrame or hardware kind of discounts. So it's for that or LASIK surgery and even hearing products. There's a savings of 35 to 65% on brand name hearing aids and products too. So I think it's a valuable Dave and I kept researching this, saying, wow, this really looks wonderful, so, but our references say that they are too, so that's his name behind it.
All right, well, thank you. If we can go ahead then and read number 2.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and authorize the President of the Board to execute the ProAct Incorporated Service Agreement with Geauga County, Ohio for discount program services for a 3-year period.
I missed a question out
There
there.
is a question, I'm sorry. And this question is not coming from me. I'm doing this for a young lady sitting next to me.
Okay.
And so she prompted the question, and so I thought, well, I would ask the question. She says, why is this free? What's the catch? And so I'm asking that question.
We couldn't find a catch. And we've been offering a free discount card. Well, I wouldn't say free because we have been paying dues to NACO, but there are many companies that do offer these cards. So.
And you know, as best we can understand it, the pharmaceutical companies enter into agreements with these discount providers. And it's kind of a mechanism for business to be steered to the pharmaceutical company, and they're then providing this discount, and there's enough of a margin in there for the company, for the card company, to make a profit. So it's kind of a win-win-win for everybody. That's how they work.
There are currently, I have a family member who was without coverage, insurance coverage for a window of time, and went to the Giant Eagle Pharmacy to get prescriptions, and they had on their counter discount cards available from wherever, and he availed himself of those discount cards and saved a few $100s on the prescription medicine. And then, you know, I mean, he was out of pocket for what he had to spend, and then when his new insurance kicked in, that took over. But there are these cards out there which I'd heard about but never had any experience with, but I'm here to tell you that I had a family member that used one of those, and this one sounds better.
Yeah, well, what we really liked about it was that it actually goes out to the resident's home address. I think that we had an issue with people, we did a press release, we promoted it, but I think that, you know, we had a lot of cards kind of just sitting there as well. We put them in places like the library and, you know, different facilities around the county, but I think that when someone gets something at their home, they may be more apt to put it in their wallet and use it, rather than.
And if they're sending out 40,000, that's a big mailer.
Right.
That's a very large mailer.
Mhm.
That's an expenditure that they're incurring.
Right, not us.
As I remember, they were big in other states, right?
Right.
Yes, we
Yeah.
don't, for
But
sure.
in Ohio,
We're
are
just
we
entering Ohio, yeah. So
are we the first?
we may be the first, but we got good references in the states where we're at.
Sir?
Norm Traffis here. I just want to make sure it was clearly pointed out that this card is only good for people that do not have insurance. So if you have insurance, that takes precedence. This card would do you no good.
Correct.
For that point, but if you ever lose your insurance for any reason, that's when this card would
Yes.
do.
Or if it's a medication, it's not covered by
medication
your
that's not
insurance.
covered by
Exactly,
your
we're not
insurance.
covered.
Right,
It has to be
that's
not
a
covered.
big thing.
Or for a pet, I mean, I know.
Well, pets,
Which is not covered. Our plans for
Okay, so this question comes from me. This is a great set of questions. Do you know in your investigation, was this discount card, nothing's for free. And so is this discount card somehow backed by federal Obamacare dollars or by some federal program or something like that? What is the root behind this?
No, I honestly did not ask that question.
Okay.
To my knowledge, it wasn't. There's a huge drug chain up in the Northeast, Kinney Drugs, which I don't know. Kinney is like, I don't know, Rite Aid or whatever. It's a big company. They are in the Northeast, and that's who they're affiliated with, I thought, with that.
Right.
And I don't know how it works, but since it doesn't cost anything, and you try it, if you save some money, then you're ahead. And if you don't like the way it performs, you're not out anything yet.
Is this tied to an income bracket?
No.
No, it is not.
It could be that they're pushing specific brands. I wonder if that's what they're.
Well, the discounts may vary.
I mean, because, you know, if you get Lipitor, you could also get some other kind, and it could be that, I don't know that, I just wonder.
We asked a lot of questions. This guy happened here about my first week on the job, and I was trying to learn other things, and I sat in, and I asked this guy, you know, the questions that I'm hearing here, because it just sounds too good to be true, and I will tell you, it may be too good to be true, but if nothing's ventured, nothing gained, and we're not paying for it. So, you know,
Yeah.
well, there's nothing attached.
There's no attached. But there's 120 counties and municipalities that use this ProAct card.
In Ohio?
And this, no, not in Ohio, all over. And this is, you know, this is one of several, this is one of many discount cards out there. So we're just, you know, we just did our research and this one came to light. We conducted some references and felt that this was the best deal. So, I mean, NACO has, you know, been performing too. I know people that have used it. I think that what we're being told and what we see is that these discounts may indeed be wrong.
In the back,
Yeah, I just asked.
We'll state your name.
Dave Walco.
Okay.
Could people identify themselves when you
Yes.
speak? Appreciate
I
it.
would.
Thank you.
Good.
sir.
Ron Weiss, I'm a councilman from Middlefield.
Okay.
We had a similar company come to Middlefield and offer this to the residents of Middlefield. And when we dug into it and we started questioning the guy about it, we found out that he was actually getting paid so much per prescription that people were getting through a discount card like this. So I would like to know if this company's making any profit off of people for that.
Well, if they're not making any profit at all, how would they stay in business?
Yeah.
Well, the question is are they taking advantage of something somehow and getting the people to get these cards so they can make more profit off of them?
I think it's
They
up to you.
may very well be, but if you're saving money, you know, if you're saving a fair amount of money, it seems, I don't know, unfair to criticize someone who's making a living off of it. You're still saving money. You know, we could say we won't do this, and then they won't make any money off the vendor, but then you'll pay list price for whatever it is on the counter, and that doesn't seem to be productive.
Have we looked in Ohio to see if anybody offers that here in Ohio and keep it in state?
Well, there's a state plan as well. I mean, you can go to the state of Ohio, and there's a discount drug card there as well. And that used to be just for lower income, but now it's for everybody. But honestly, we have had a NACO card. That's the NACO stands for the National Association of Counties. And I would think that they would not get behind something or offer any kind of a drug discount card if there was any ulterior reason
Right,
not to
and
do
this
that.
is not, by the commissioners sponsoring this card, it doesn't mean you can't use, if you found another discount card that works better,
Right.
you're not precluded from doing that.
This is a voluntary
Yeah.
program. If you want to participate, fine. If you don't want to participate, that's also
We're
fine.
just trying to save the residents some money, and this, based on our research, looks like the best deal at this time. If going down the line, we come up with information that tells us maybe there's a better way to do it, we'll look at that. We feel it's an improvement over the NACO card. A number of the counties that are on this card moved to it from the NACO card because it appears the discounts overall are better. And if that's the only reason the county's paying the $1,800 we pay to be in NACO, and we can find a better card, we don't have to lay out that money for a membership that we weren't even using, that's what we want to do.
I can guarantee we make no money on this card. We get nothing for this except trying to pass this service on to the community at large.
That's a good point to make, because actually there are cards out there, and they market to governmental entities, and some of these card companies do offer the government like a cut, like a kickback. We didn't want that. We wanted the biggest possible discount for our residents. So that's something to look out for, and we're not in this for anything out of the county other than helping our residents.
That's exactly right.
So if we have a motion on this,
Okay, I will make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Smeedy?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler.
Aye. Motion stands approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You've done a great job. Okay. Number 3, I could take care of this one. I actually brought this up for consideration by the other commissioners to put together a resolution honoring Gene Williams, Gene the barber, for 50 years of service. If I could see a show of hands, is there anybody here in the audience that is familiar with Gene over at the barber shop in Newberry? Okay, so this is an individual who has been my personal barber also, and this is kind of the joy of having a county like Geauga County that's got that family base to be able to be at a commissioners meeting, to be able to give respect and honor towards somebody like this, and this individual finished 50 years in January as serving in Geauga County as a individual business. He's 72 years old, and he has finally decided to call it quits, and he will be closing his shop permanently on March 22nd. 50 years at the same location. We just, it's actually the longest serving privately owned business in the county. And it's a piece of the county that anybody that knows Gene understands that there's a magnetism in his personality, and the feeling that you get in the shop is like when you watched Andy Griffith. And to be quite honest with you, it's depressing and it's sad, because it's something that is just no more possible to experience quite that feel of of that kind of relationship that you have. A man that just has every has had every bone in his body as being of good. I've been going to him for about 18 years. Never once have I ever had any kind of negativity of anything. It's always, the glass was always half full, and it was one of those things. You could have the worst day going, and you go to get a haircut, and you come out feeling like an absolute $1 million. And I think that it's important that there are people like this that you come across in your life. And I talked to a lot of people, since this has come up. I brought this up a couple weeks ago, that felt that this was very much in order, and also a situation where just a very, very deserving individual has been a part of this community, a lifelong resident of Geauga County, and a true staple, and somebody that we all could be proud of. And I just would like to, wish him well. I hope he lives another 100 years, and he just, deserves everything everything of good, because he just brought a lot of positive to so many people, including myself in my life, of just being able to go in there almost as if it was a, going to the confessional and talking to the priest. You could go to Gene and talk to him. So it was just a very humble guy. I told him today when I was over there getting my ears lowered, and I said, I'd love for you to be here tonight, and he's just a man that man of few applauses, and just very humble, but very much big-hearted. So I ask for the motion to approve this resolution for Gene the barber.
I would also like to say, I never knew Gene, but I knew his son, Sherman.
Sherman.
And his mother used to come over and visit a neighbor of ours. That was, I'm not going to tell you how many years ago, but I can tell you he's not a little boy anymore. But I will make that motion. Glad to.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye. Motion's approved. Okay. And okay.
Old-time telephone.
All right. Okay. Okay. Okay, and number 4 brings us to the commissioners will hold a discussion regarding the West Geauga Senior Center. This has been a I won't say it's been a hot topic, but it's been a heavily discussed topic. We had a situation where approximately a month ago, I'd say, our new Department of Aging Director, Jessica Volt, presented to the commissioners for the renewal of a contract with the Patterson Center? Or, what is it?
West Geauga Senior Center.
West Geauga Senior
It's the
Center.
official name.
Which is at Orchard Hills. And we ended up in a situation where we started to look at, there was a fairly large increase that had come up of 10%, which just appeared to be a little bit of a big jump when we looked at the initial contract. So we went back and asked if there was a possibility to reevaluate that, and then there was also some concerns regarding the utility bills that were being also paid at the location. And what we were able to figure out is that there's 2 sets of utility bills that are being paid there. There's one set of utility bills which pays for the plugs, the stoves, the different utilities like that. And then the other utility that's paid is probably the larger of the 2, which controls your HVAC, heating the building and cooling for the summertime, which were averaged out of over $2,000 a month for the utility bills. So when we went back to question that, Jessica actually brought that up with the people there and came to make a determination based on the fact that some of the utilities that we were paying for the HVAC, they were also paying for the other utilities that we were also utilizing at the same time. So it basically came to the point where we were paying approximately 73% of the total utility, and they were picking up about another almost 25% of the costs of that. So in reality, what we were actually utilizing as far as our consumption, we were actually paying approximately 73% of that cost, of the actual cost, rather than the 100% of the cost. And the reason that was diverted that way was because of the fact that the center being utilized primarily Monday through Friday for senior activities was being utilized by Geauga seniors. On Friday nights or Saturday nights or Sunday, there would be other activities that would be held at the center, and what that 25% was basically paying for was the use of the center for those nights. So, long story bearable, we got into discussion back and forth as far as, that the decision should be looked into of we need to keep the center there available for the people that are using that center currently. With that being said, we also discussed the fact that it came up by numerous residents. We had many emails that came in to say, can you look at this? We had many residents saying it's a little bit too far for us to go for if we're living over here. It's a little bit closer to Lake County than it is to the center of Geauga County and all this other stuff. So we just basically started to look at just different options, and as a board, we basically said, let's at least get this thing recontracted so that we have a location, and in the process, Jessica, Administrator Lair, their focus is to just basically have a discussion, with the actual users of the location, in addition to going out to say what makes best sense for the seniors. And the thought on it is if we're spending, let's say, $4,500 to $5,000 a month between utilities and rent, where's the dollar figure to potentially have something that could be county owned and potentially service more people, possibly a little bit different location, more centrally located to serve more, and to potentially have a facility that would just offer a more product or more availability of options for the seniors. And this is something that until I actually came to the commissioner's office myself, I never realized the importance and the direction that the seniors in Geauga County are, in the sense of 3 years, 6 years, 10 years, 15 years of where the demands are going to be on the Department of Aging. And I didn't really get a full snapshot of this until we started to interview for a new director, and then started to actually look at all of the statistics of where the services are going to be needed and where the demand is going to be made within a very short period of time to be able to serve more and more of a growing population that is going to be requiring a facility like this. So what the beauty of this whole situation that we've got here is that we need your help, and we need to be able to have feedback of what's the right decision and what direction do we go for as a county. But with that being said is that we can't just look at things for today. We have to look at it for what is it going to serve the same people that are sitting in your seat right now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and where are we going to be as a county, and where can we put ourselves to better serve the people of this county? Because at the end of the day, it's not about the commissioners, it's not about the levies, it's about the people. And our goal is not to interrupt service. Our goal is not to take away service. Our goal is to improve quality. And we basically do not have the expertise of being able to have this magic ball to call the shots, to be able to know where we want to be 5 years or 10 years from now. We know that right now what we have is working, but we also know and realize that in a very short amount of time, it's not going to fit the bill of goods that we as a county and we as a growing population in this county is going to suffice to be able to give that quality that we demand and we want for our seniors in this county. So it comes to, quality, And I think that the discussions that the commissioners have had is that it doesn't come down to the price. We want to be able to make it the right choice for the right point. So I guess we could start the discussion and start to help us to, ma'am, right here.
Okay, Mary Ann Masalski, I live in Chesterland,
Yes.
40 years. I use the senior center frequently. We understand what you're saying, but may I just make a couple comments? First of all, what I read in the paper last Wednesday in the Chesterland News, I'm not sure where the statistics came from. I hope you people have visited. I hope you have taken the time to come to the senior centers. I'm sure you would be invited to be there. In fact, I know you've been invited to come and talk to some of us. Yes, I'm a senior. We have a lot of educated people. We have doctors. We have a lot of very bright people that are making use of the center. But when we read articles such as was published, I don't know where the information came from, but when you make the statement, well, we need to be more centralized, and Chagrin needs to be more centralized. Do you realize do you know what happens as you get older? I don't know if you know this. Seniors do not want to drive the distance. I mean, I'm just giving you an example of information. Secondly, wherever the 20 people came from per day at the center is totally inaccurate. And if you would only come there any day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, see the services that are offered, that is an inaccurate thing. So I personally will have to say that it upset me no end to see misstatements in the paper and to find out that this whole thing, it sounded to me like you guys were trying to save money. I would think that what should be happening is that you should be spending money, because we all know that the population is aging. We are educated. We understand that in Geauga County, as there are fewer children in the school, there are more seniors. Go to the libraries and find out what they're doing to offer programs to the seniors. We don't need fewer facilities. We need more facilities closer to the people. I'm sorry.
Very well said. And I think that I did not see the paper, but we've heard about it.
And I made a couple phone calls, and the same thing was said. I didn't read the paper. By golly, I'm sorry, I'm not into politics, but I'll sure get into them if this becomes a battle. But let me tell you this. You guys have got to read what's in the paper. You've got to read what they're reporting about what you're doing. So then you know why we are here, because some of us are very upset.
I know that a lot of the statements that were made, a lot of the statements that they came from the audience, and in addition to that, a lot of the statements that were made that day were also statements that we were given from people responding to us of statements that they wanted to have called out. So I can tell you that I don't believe that any of the commissioners that day made any derogatory statements, and it was something that I mean, the tape is available that you can watch it on YouTube to feel comfortable yourself. We had a discussion as far as the finance part of the senior centers. We had a discussion as far as what the people that have called upon us have said. Once that initial meeting was basically aired out there, we just had an enormous amount of people that responded to us. Jessica?
I would, may I say something?
Sure.
Mr. President? I just wanted to give you a little history behind the senior center, being kind of the aged one here. It's true. I won't tell you how old.
39.
That's it. That's right. 10 years ago, this subject came up about trying to purchase something, because I think there is merit into owning a property, because then you can do more things with it, and it's yours, and down the road it works out. We had a property that we were looking at, and it was in I think on the border of Munson and Chester. But there were a lot of issues
Well, that
with
was
it.
the former senior center.
It was a former senior center, but we were looking into purchasing, but there was environmental issues. We'd have to tear it down, start all over again. And at that time, we had just been put a brand new jail in to the tune of $14.7 million. Albeit we got $4 million from the state, but we were in a massive pay down for that debt. So we thought, well, Sally at the time looked around and she always told me, one of the things I did when I first got on is that before I became a commissioner, I went to all the senior centers and I actually went along with some of the social workers to the homes of the seniors to understand what is going on in Geauga County. And she said it was really important to have senior centers positioned in places where seniors could be there. We actually, in my opinion, we need another senior center, one over in the Bainbridge, Auburn, South Russell area, and the one in Chester. Then we got the one that's centralized right in Munson. Then we have the one in Middlefield, and I'm not sure, Jessica, do we still have the Thompson one?
One day.
Yeah. So the whole idea was that, you're right, when you get in the car, you don't want to drive, you don't want to be going for 20 minutes. If I go out to Thompson, it's a good 20-minute drive, I mean, from where I live. So, and then one other thing I would mention, and I'll give the mic to my colleague here. Additionally, there is a senior levy that is gone out, that all of you pay for. And we were doing a little investigation on how much Chester pays into that senior levy. It's somewhere around $340,000. That's a lot of money. And you know, when I think of, well, if we're spending $60,000 for you, I think we're getting a good deal. 35, 40, 60,000. So all of these things come into play, and to understand that we did look. And it's always good to look around, and I think in behalf of my own commissioners, you know, we have to do justice to, if we think we can find a place that would be good for this grouping, this group, I think we should try and do that. But I don't think we should upset the apple cart for those who are enjoying going to the senior center. I must have had 40 calls, hundreds of emails from people, friends that I know. I go to the Y and I see the seniors, and believe me, when I swim my half a mile, I have somebody swimming with me all the way, every day, somebody different. Oh, let me tell you, Mary, this is, I said, okay. No, I'm not bragging.
Every day.
But you know, you folks have a lot to say, and I always say when the silent majority, when their wick gets slit, you'll be sorry it ever did.
Yeah, I'd like to comment about the lady who spoke earlier. If you think you're upset when you read the wrong information in a newspaper, you ought to be an elected official when you read the wrong information in a newspaper. It's very upsetting. I agree with you. Also, I don't get the Chesterland News, but I get the Maple Leaf, the Courier, and the News Herald, but the Chesterland News I don't get. I don't even know if they deliver it on a timely basis. They'd have to mail it, I guess. I don't know how you can get it. A couple things that, one, and I don't want to insult your collective intelligence, but I'm new to this job. I came on in November, taking the spot of Tracy Jameson. And so a lot of people come to me with this question. Because of the open meeting laws, the sunshine laws that are in the state of Ohio, a board of 3 people cannot talk to one another about an issue unless it's in an open meeting. So I don't know what's in Ralph's head, and he doesn't know what's in mine, and we don't know what's in Mary's about certain issues. So sometimes when we're at a function like this, we're actually, it's the first time we have a legal occasion to converse on these issues. So yes, sometimes things may be said that you bounce off your fellow commissioner and you go, yeah, I didn't think of that. What was I thinking of? So you have to bear with us a little bit because we don't meet in the dark in a back room and discuss these issues. A commissioner's job in my opinion, is to look out for the 93 to 95,000 residents of this county, whether that's newborns or the elderly, and to service the majority of the people. You mentioned that, and it's true, that the aging population is probably the fastest rising population in the county. And because of that, the demographics change. You know, I mean, I'm a native of Chesterland. I was born there 66 years ago. And
Was that 36?
yeah.
Youngster.
Yeah, thank you.
Youngster.
And I know that I met some people here that I knew my parents and I knew of when I was a little kid. Well, you know, in the not too distant future, some of these towns or townships that grew up after Chesterland, as people kept moving further east, a larger portion of their people will be getting, they'll be seniors. And what I told Don Trask, there's a big difference when we say, if you say we're looking for a senior center, or we're looking at the senior centers to see that they still service the population, that they're still convenient, that everything goes on. And I heard someone accuse us of maybe taking advantage of Jessica, and that's in no way, shape, or form. I'm new, and she's a couple weeks newer than I am. And she came into a situation that she needs some time to reevaluate, come up to speed. So nobody's doing anything right now. It's just, where do we go 5 years from now or 10 years from now when the life cycle changes and maybe there's a lot more second or third generation Chesterland residents, because some of us are starting to get to the finish line. And then maybe there'll be a greater demand in Munson or a greater demand in South Russell or what have you. And so that's what we need to look at. We need to look at that, see that we're still servicing. I did go to the West Geauga Senior Center. I was driving through Chesterland, and I thought, oh, I'm here, I'll just pull in. And it was 2:30 in the afternoon, and I got out, and there was no one there because the bus had left. And then the ladies that work there, Teddy and you know, they pointed out to me that the attendance had been low to begin with, because it was below zero that morning, and I was there at 2:30 in the afternoon, and it was zero. You know, and I thought, well, I didn't think of that. And so when you take that count, when you go somewhere, we need to, whoever is doing that needs to understand the overall conditions. If you're going to go there in a blizzard, I imagine attendance will be down. So if you're taking a count that day, it's not going to favor you folks. But that's where I'm trying to deal with. I see Jessica stands up, so I'm going to.
Jessica, take the floor.
Take the floor.
Do you want to come up here and speak?
Yeah,
Good.
come on down.
Come on down.
Come on down.
No problems.
You're in Lakeland.
I'm a little embarrassed now.
I imagine they do, but
Oh, embarrassed.
you want to hold it and do a floor show? Or
No, I know.
I do feel weird having my back to everyone.
Just kind of spin around.
Why don't you spin around and spin it around?
There you go. Now,
Go ahead, push that out.
You can pull it. There's a
Yeah,
long
there you go.
you can walk around.
Hi, I'm Jessica Bolt. I'm the new director for the Department on Aging. Thank you for having me here this evening. Something that I just wanted to touch upon, I think we talked a little bit about some inaccuracies with information. And I would say, I think I've been misquoted a few times as well. So, and certainly at the meeting, there were some questions I just didn't have the answers for because I wasn't prepared at that time. I just didn't have the correct information with me. So just to start off with, I do want to put some information out there that is correct. So the West G Senior Center, we do occupy it 5 days a week. Roughly, and Sandy McLeod, my site coordinator, is here, so please correct me if I do get a little bit off, but I believe we occupy the building between 7 and 7:30 in the morning until roughly 4 to 4:30. That's when staff kind of are in and out, either getting ready to prepare to receive our food deliveries, or also wrapping up at the end of the day. The rent that we do pay is $2,415 a month. That is the base rent. Last year we were paying $2,300, so that did increase by $115. Additionally, we do pay that electric cost, the HVAC cost, as well as the electric for, I believe it's called the clubhouse. Is that correct, Sandy? Correct, the clubhouse. That's where the office is, where we do our paperwork. The folks at Orchard Hills, they have no reason to heat that facility aside from us occupying it, so that's why we do need that cost. In total, if we break down the yearly electric cost from 2013 and just spread it evenly out, we would be looking at paying approximately $3,698.51 in total for rent. That does include the base rent. So without my calculator in front of me, are we looking at roughly $750 a square foot? We're dealing with about 6,000 square feet. Is that about correct?
7 something.
Yeah, maybe 749 or 743. So what goes on at the senior center? We have, of course, our...
$44,000. $382. I have my calculator.
Oh, year, but per square foot, I believe, it's 6,000.
Yeah.
Oh, per year, $44,000.
$382.12.
So, so what services happen at the West G Senior Center? Of course, we have our socialization programming. Additionally, we have appointments there, legal appointments. We do congregate meals and home-delivered meals. I'd like to get to the average daily attendance. We've heard number 4. Heard the number 20. So I'd like to tell you, on average, there are 45 occupants in the building. That is people with a first and a last name, individuals. No one is duplicated, no one is counted twice. So that is the correct number. We have it month by month and did the numbers. Our yearly census, total people in and out of the building, are 1,047 people who have come to that site. And yes, some folks did come there once, but of course many do come on a regular basis, and that's why we have 45 people there a day. So I did want to share that information as we start talking about numbers and people coming. I certainly did just want to get the correct information out there as I have it today. As far as my position on things, I am new, and I'm doing my best to meet with the seniors across Geauga County, talk with my staff, and talk with those who have more information, knowledge, and education than I do. Because my goal is to make good decisions for the Department on Aging, for the seniors, for the county, socially, as well as fiscally. So when I brought up the lease, I discovered we needed to renew it the first week of January. The previous director left December 31st. So as I assumed my new role, I did discover that the lease needed to be renewed. And I had 2 options. You know, we could go to bid for a 2-year lease, which is something that you typically do. You know, you would go out to bid, look at multiple options, go and look at the sites. But it being a levy year, I was really hesitant to commit funds through 2015 and into 2016 because, well, we haven't passed a levy, and my background, I don't like to spend money before it's in the bank. So I thought about doing a 1-year lease, as that would give me time to get to know the seniors, get to look at the facility, attend the facility, and also ask those that utilize it, what's your 2 to 3 year goal? what is this facility accomplishing for you? What can we look at moving forward? So I was hoping throughout the course of the year I could learn more so that when we do go to bid in, I guess it would be January of 2016, you know, I would be very well informed and able to make good decisions. So that's my position. My position is to have a little bit of time to get educated and have a depth of understanding. I don't like to make quick decisions. I like to get as much information as I can because I realize it impacts much more than just me. And it impacts your dollars and your enjoyment in your lives. So my goal is here to serve you, to enrich and enhance your lives, and that's what I want to do. And I certainly want to do that with as much education as possible. So my goal is to certainly look beyond and see what options there are, and I think I made that clear. But I was hoping for this year to certainly not only get my feet wet, but to get a greater depth of understanding for the Department on Aging. So thank you, and I will thank you.
Stand by.
I've got a question over here.
That's all right.
Don.
No,
Don?
I just want to comment. Thank you, Jessica.
Go ahead.
I'm Don Trask, voting resident of Geauga County. I reside in Chesterland, and I'm on the advisory board of the Department on Aging. I would like to ask respectfully that the Board of Commissioners give Jessica the full year that she's requested for the analysis of the services and facilities that we have given to us. And I want to make sure that the commissioners know that those that haven't been at our facility, to come over and please spend a little bit of time. I fully expect that by next year, when Jessica shows up, she's going to be requesting another facility be built south of here, because there are a lot of people that are out there that need service. And I just want to say thank you to everybody that's come to support the Department on Aging, because it's all our life. And so, hang in there.
Thank you, Don.
Pat Mule, Chester Township. I'd like to thank the county commissioners for addressing this very serious issue. I did read the articles in the newspaper, but I happened to also watch the videotape. And Mr. Spitaleri, you clearly said that you would like to combine or move the senior center in Chester Township to Bainbridge or South Russell or Russell. And that's why everybody is here, because they know what was said. And if you did that without doing your research or having the information before you said those comments, then as a commissioner, you need to apologize to us. Well, I don't use the facility myself, but I am of age to use it if I so choose to. The center in Chester Township has been a wonderful source for seniors that use it, not just in Chester Township. I'm sure it draws from Russell Township and possibly from Munson Township also. And if you need to build another facility, that's fine, that's your choice. I appreciate your comments, Mr. Rear, and Mrs. Samidi, I appreciate your comments also. But please don't pretend that you didn't say it, because you did say it. And that's why these people are here. We are concerned that that will be removed from Chester Township and relocated to another community. We not only pay the county levy, which generates $345,000 at 100% collection. At 98% collection, it's $345,000. But 2.5 of our inside mills also goes into your general fund. And I think that's a considerable amount of money from Chester Township property owners. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll follow that up. Norm Traffis again from Chester, and I've been a member, essentially, of the Department of Aging for over 6 years, as well as a attendee at many of the functions of the West G Senior Center. And I really in fact, I appreciated your comments earlier. I think, you know, looking at a plan and looking down the road for 5 to 10 years out is very, very important. But I was told about this meeting on January 30th and was unaware of it. And then I watched it on TV, not on my computer, not on TV, on YouTube. And I was shocked, not so much with your comments, sir, but with some of the comments that came from the audience at the end. But in addition, there were some concerns I did have with some of the comments that were made from the commissioners from the table. And as if I was in a position of power, of commissioner, with that kind of money that's being spent for the seniors in this area, and got a comment from a volunteer that said that 4 people, most days, 4 people show up to play cards, and that's it. And the only way we're getting our numbers is by looking at the times when we have 100 or more people at special events, and that's how we get up to 45 a person. I would have been on the phone that day with the person in charge of that facility and find out why that is the case. Or is it the case? Or is it true? Is it not true? Or I'd have gotten in my car and driven there and take a look at it. And like some of the other people said, you're all welcome to come to the senior center. Bring your skivvies and you know, your tennis shoes and come and join us. If you're over 60, you can be a member.
Right, and I guess let me make a couple comments. Is that as we looked at the initial situation is when you look at the geographic location of the center, we were looking at it because in the commissioner's office we get continuous emails, email after email after email. I don't care, you could say blue and everybody is going to send you an email that you should have said yellow, and you could say green and they'll tell you should have said blue. My point is this, is that when this whole thing started to ramp up, prior to even our discussion, the whole situation on the Department of Aging, from when Sally Bell was still there, and the whole situation of getting a new director, where's the direction of the aging department going, what are we going to do at some of the senior centers? The most common complaint that we've gotten was that we were not serving the density population of the center of Chesterland and South Russell as effective as the location of where that senior center is closer to Lake County than it is to Mayfield Road. And that was the whole concern, because though I may have come across to say, Ms. Mueller, that that's what I said, the situation is I don't say anything without fact behind me. And the fact behind me is the number of calls that we have taken of people asking for something a little bit easier accessible to the center of the population. And that's where the comment came up to say, if we put it at Mayfield, just hypothetically at Mayfield and Sperry Road, Mayfield and 306, we have a bigger diameter of actual Geauga County residents that can all come into that at a shorter pace. Just like she stated, it becomes challenging for people to have to go an extra 5 miles. Try driving it in the inclement weather like today. So what we're looking at is the comment that I made was not made derogatory in any way, nor do I feel that I have to apologize, because what I stated was based on fact of trying to say we can look for a location to serve more, not to reduce services.
In all due respect, I agree with you 100%. I respect that comment, and you did say all those things.
Right.
And they were correct, and they were properly stated, And I think a study would certainly show you what you need to do, and
Correct.
maybe you do have to have another place or something else.
And let me, hold on one more second. We can't control what, just like tonight. I mean, the three of us commissioners cannot control what somebody in the audience says. And I understand where your comment is regarding, things can be said, and we can't go back and say, to have, the encyclopedia say, well, that's not correct. We don't have sometimes access to say that. Somebody says something tonight that's, not true and correct. We can't, I mean, there's only so much stuff that we can police on that part of it. And I understand what you're saying. And sometimes, emotions come into play and, tempers start to flare. People take stuff very passionately and things get said. And sometimes you can't, I don't want to sit here and try to put a piece of armor in front of the commissioners, but I'm just saying that we can only control sometimes what we can control, and we want to bring the public, just like tonight, to be a part of this, because if we are here, all of us here are here to serve you. And if any of us doubt that, then none of us should be sitting at this table. And our whole goal, my goal from when I came onto this position last year was, I wanted to have a night meeting because of this exactly. You tell us what we should do and give us direction of which way to go. And this is what government should be, of the people and for the people.
Okay, now let me continue here, real quick. I'm going to try to be very short here.
Good.
One, I agree with you, you cannot control what the audience says. But these are comments that were made from you that are actually in the minutes. Okay? And one of the things that I like to do is have facts.
Sure.
And one of the comments was that there were only 4 people. You had gotten a word from a volunteer that there were only 4 people playing cards there most of the time. And I just want to present this, if I may.
Sure.
This is a picture of the 4 people playing cards there. This was taken on Tuesday.
So this wasn't a false statement?
That is not a false statement. That there are 4 people. Now that was in one room. In another room there were another 4 people playing cards. In addition to that, however, in another room we had exercise going on. This is Tuesday. There's 2 photographs of that. There were 25 people there exercising that day, Tuesday. After we left at 11 o'clock, we had the gals come in that played bridge. There were 16 to 20 people playing bridge that afternoon. In addition to that, there were other activities that afternoon, which I won't even get into. That was Tuesday, very snowy day. On Wednesday, I went back. I don't usually go there, but they have exercise for the arthritic people. And we had, again, a lot of snow that day. About 2 inches of heavy snow came down earlier. 17 people came that day. And then additional, on Wednesday afternoon, we have other activities too. So the fact that we typically have, on most days, this is quotes, in most days we have 4 people playing cards at the West G Senior Center is totally incorrect. We have a lot more things going on there. We won't even go into the details of a lot of the other activities that we have going on with smaller groups, because we are an exercise group. Now I'd like to mention a few things about the West Geauga Senior Center specifically. Really. One, you mentioned tonight that the increase was 10%. Now that was, and it's probably in the records tonight saying that you said it was 10% increase. That was corrected. That was an error that was stated by Jessica. She corrected that to 5%. It was a 5% increase. In addition to that, I found out that typically the contracts are for 2 years. And the Pattersons would have given us a 2-year contract, but Jessica, as she mentioned, only wanted a 1 year. Now, I don't know why you wouldn't go for 2, because you still have the 30 days to get out of it in the lease. You still would have that covered. But essentially, the Pattersons were giving a 5% increase over a 2-year period, but you only selected 1 year. So essentially, it's about a 2.5% increase per year that we're really that we're getting added. Because you could have gotten a 2-year lease for the same amount, for 2 years. Now, the other thing is I'm not in the money, so I'm not going to get into that at all. If we do decide to find another place to go to, one of the concerns I have is the maintenance that we have at the center. And at the West Geauga Senior Center, the Pattersons provide maintenance of the facilities inside and out for free. It's not additional cost, the maintenance there. When we went there on Tuesday, after the snow, this is what our sidewalk looks like going in. And this is what our parking lot looks like. That was after 2 inches of snow fell. They were actually doing that sidewalk while we were exercising. They continually plow that drive and the walk. They keep it salted for up to 4 or 5 times while we're there, in the 4 or 5 hours we're there. So consequently, if we do find another place, we need to make sure that we have the maintenance like that available to us so that our sidewalks don't have to look like that, but that we are maintained very well. And by the way, that is done at the West Geauga Senior Center for nothing. Nothing additional.
Wow.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm familiar with that area because I grew up on, we lived on Pekin Road. But now that Guido's is putting up that new party center, has there been any I mean, given that you have a year, that might be something because the situation there of the location is much more central to the population base that you're talking about.
I don't believe we have, right?
That's right at the corner. That's going to be just south of 322 on 306.
Yeah, I was unaware of it.
That goes to the comment that I made when we talked about the, excuse me, I could use a drink of water. That goes to the comment that I made earlier. The difference between looking for someplace and looking at someplace. We are not actively looking for a replacement that I'm aware of. Okay, I don't know, in my mind, that is not the motive here. The looking at is what are our other options? I mean, God forbid the West Geauga Senior Center catches fire tonight and burns to the ground. Are you guys going to still want to go there? I mean, because it'll be cold. Well, not if you're there early enough. If you're there early enough, you'll be warm. But we need to have something in the back of our mind. Jessica needs to have some idea. And by the way, the 1-year contract was not our idea. But what are we going to provide for our seniors if something happens? You know, what if? That's the main thing.
We go to Shark. A good facility if the main building burns down.
Yeah, we have months ago.
Yeah, well, one of those buildings isn't large enough to hold your whole thing because if it were, you wouldn't have 2 buildings.
How about have you ever
My
thought of a
name is at the
survey?
Wilcox.
Pardon me?
Have you ever thought of a survey of the seniors? Have you ever thought of sending a survey out to find out what, I would imagine you would be amazed at the response that the seniors would take the time and return it with their thoughts.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Exactly.
You would know.
My name's Ethel Wilcox, and I just want to bring up something. You're thinking of combining 2 senior centers, and I want to say this. I know I, for one, if I have to drive a long distance, I'm not going to drive in snow and ice, and I think many are not going to drive, which is going to discourage many seniors from attending, and the attendance certainly will go down. Secondly, I know you're going to say, oh, you can take the transit, the Geauga transit. If I have to take the Geauga transit, and many other seniors have to take the Geauga transit to get someplace, I think you should think about the expense this is going to be. You're going to have to buy a lot of vehicles to transport all of the senior citizens from West Geauga to the other senior center somewhere else. You're gonna have to hire drivers, you're gonna have to pay insurance on the vehicles to transport us somewhere else, because you're taking the senior center away from Chesterland.
Well, that's
And
why I
I think
mentioned
that you
that
should
help.
consider this, that you don't want to have a senior center where you're going to have many, many, many more expenses of vehicles, drivers, insurance, gasoline, and so forth, because there's so many of us to transport there. So therefore, the senior center should be kept in Chester.
And that's why we mentioned that, you know, it may not be that we have to consolidate, it may mean that we need another senior center in the Russell, Bainbridge, Auburn area. Certainly, there's an awful lot of people over there, and there's a lot of people in Chester. Chester and Bainbridge are our biggest townships. And,
Where will the money come from if you do another senior center?
well, obviously, it would have to come from the levy, so, you know, like what we did with our jail, you know what we did, is we did renewable notes each year to pay it down.
We spend everything every year, is there left over from year to year?
We have a little bit of residual money left over, but, yeah, we have money left over, but you have to take that into account. Can you pay down this debt? Because having debt is not a good thing.
No, I understand
Yeah.
that, but if you do build another senior, you're gonna have to have. a higher level.
Absolutely, and I don't know that 44,000 would cover it.
Mr. back there.
Mr. Klein?
Yeah, I got just a couple of comments. I can appreciate all the senior one center and your taxpayers, but don't forget there's a lot of other taxpayers too. So I think the commissioner should do something financially sound that makes sense for the entire county. Saying that, if you have a central center that the seniors can use, and maybe you can make money on the weekends as a party center and generate itself, so we don't have to have a mill levy, 2 mill levy, 3 mill levy. We've got to keep paying every year and go on. As for that, transportation, we have Geauga Transit that is so underused. I don't know why it's not being used, but it's not, so it's underused, so you don't have to really drive to the center. Third of all, most importantly, the Patterson Center, and I said this at the last meeting, I'll say it again, we're giving money to a man that used taxpayers' money to front his business on a public website, which is illegal. That's the reality, that's the fact.
Who was that gentleman?
Yes, Mr. Klein. Mr. Klein is his name.
Jeff Klein.
Jeff Klein.
I live in Munson Township.
The reason for that, I have an answer to that.
Okay.
The reason for that, is, from my understanding now, the reason for that was when the Orchard Hills Park was opened up, there was no parking lot down there. So the Pattersons offered the parking lot behind their fruit store for parking so that people could get down to the park. Somehow, unbeknownst to them, or maybe not unbeknownst to them, I don't know, there was a link between that parking lot and the fruit center. When the park got their own parking lot and everything else, that was changed, but no one ever knew about this link, and that's why when you go to Orchard Hills Park, you get parked by behind the Patterson's fruit farm, you know, their store, and that link comes up. It was an accident. I believe it's been removed, but I'm not sure.
I believe it's been removed, and I really don't
But they
think
didn't
that
even know
Mr.
about it.
Patterson, I don't think Mr. Patterson is that technically savvy that he even knew how it was done or why it was done, but
It was
I
doing
believe
them
it
a
has
favor.
been moved because that was an issue, and I believe they removed
It was a
it.
favor to the park.
I think anything related to Geauga Parks is moot at this time. This kind of a discussion. We're talking about a senior center, are we not? And that's what we're talking about.
Sure.
So I can appreciate all of your comments, and I think that if you can all three commit to furthering your studies and research, but giving Chester Township's senior center a priority, to not relocate it unless it's absolutely the best deal in town that you can get some other place in Chester Township, but not to locate it out of Chester Township into Russell or South Russell. Bainbridge has Chagrin Falls Park as a senior center. So, and if you talk about location, that's just as far south as Chester is north. So I don't see that that's a good argument to use, you know, at all. But I guess I would.
It's not a matter we're looking for arguments to use, and I don't know where, you know, the combination of places. We basically stated that we know that there was enough of a demand that would require a facility that would be in more of a denser area to have a very, very good drive-to point from people coming from the east, from the west, from the south, and from the north. That could be more of a bullseye location rather than a point at that part. And that's where the discussion started.
Well, one other comment I'd like to make, if you check square footage of space in Chester Township, it's far more than what is being paid at Orchard Hill.
Nobody's disputing that.
We commented about that in our meeting. I believe,
correct.
Dave Lair had, right over here, the county rents space to the
Education.
Yeah,
County Board of Health.
County Board.
$66,000 a year.
And what are we?
They pay between $10 and $11 a square.
Right.
To us.
So
For comparable quality space.
Yeah, $7 to $8 for the space is certainly, from that example, in line, and actually probably a pretty darn good deal.
I want to talk money, okay?
What's your name, ma'am?
Yeah, we'll do
My
it.
name is Lynn Boyd. I've been in Chesterland for 40 years, okay? I've been to almost all the centers. I've been to except Thompson. And I was at Baybridge today, and their parking lot is not plowed, okay? The walkway was plowed, you know, but they're shoveled, but the parking lot was not, okay? That was an issue for me, because I had to tromp through about, you know, all sorts of snow. Okay, but what are your projections for money for the future with the senior center as far as budgeting goes? You know, I mean, I don't know what, you know, you have percentages that you look at, don't you, to amateurize your money over the year or so? How far ahead do you plan?
Well, it's generally, it's a 5-year levy, and the way you usually do these is because once you get the levy passed, the revenue is fairly flat through the life of the revenue.
Okay,
so if you're doing it responsibly, you start out spending less, considerably less than you're bringing in, and then you kind of spend your way into it, so you still have a cushion at the end when you have to go out for renewal.
Okay.
We look at those things.
So what the issue is, not just the spending for the cost of the building, but the maintenance and the lights and gas and everything else.
I mean, from my standpoint, you know, we like, there's attractive points to owning a building, but you're committing to something. And if you're committing to something based on a voted levy, I think you got to be careful with that.
Yeah. So renting would be much more, you know.
It's a more conservative approach.
It's a more conservative way of using the money.
Unless you get a stream of money to cover the buildings.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So I know I was at Baybridge, I've been out at Middlefield, Chardon, whatever. Well, Baybridge could never hold the people that we have here. Never, never. They just, you know, and Middlefield's too far out because I go out there twice a week to take care of my grandkids. So I've used that facility out there, okay? Chardon, you know, in Ravenwood, that's not ideal at all, you know? So I mean, as far as West Jeep is concerned, yeah, it's right up in that little corner of the county, you know, but it seems to be fairly, you know, accessible for all the people that want to go there, you know. And I'm sorry to find out that it's costing so much to run those two buildings. You know, I don't know what else you can do about it.
Oh, that's
you
not
know?
good.
But I know if you plan for, you know, 5 years ahead, you obviously have to look for some new facility. There's no question about it. You know, whether you rent a building or even, you know, rent a building that some guy's already put up. You know what I mean? That's a, you know, I think that's an option that everybody realizes because we're all getting older. You know, there's going to be more of us.
With any luck. Beats the alternative.
Thank you, ma'am.
We're all asking the commissioners questions on what they hired Jessica Bolt to do. Please, number one, stop the realty people from bothering her all day long trying to sell her property or rent her property. And number two, give her the year to do what she needs to do, to come back to you in a year from now and advise us what is our correct direction. Before this year is over, everybody in here is going to know that I'm the chair for the levy committee. I want everybody here to vote for our levy.
Yes.
This is not a political pitch.
It's a public meeting. You gotta cut that.
I want you to know that Jessica's here to do the job. She's very capable from everything that I've seen, and I please give her the responsibility and a chance to do it.
Don, I think when I talk to you, there's nobody here that I know of that said anything negative about Jessica.
I understand.
The only issue with Jessica is that she's new and she has a vertical learning curve. She's stepping into a job that, you know, she's got, the problems come to her very quickly. And she's been doing a wonderful job as far as this panel is concerned.
Yeah.
And that would be ignorant of any of us to employ someone and short of them having their hand in the cookie jar or something, not giving them adequate time to learn and do the job.
My comment was more to the group here to let them know that that's where it's
Jessica
at.
wants to defend herself.
I'd like to talk about me for a minute. Thank you for your concern for me. I appreciate that. I don't feel attacked. I'm fine, and I welcome phone calls with suggestions and opportunities. I've had a few phone calls. I've called a few folks, as a matter of fact, and I've said, hey, can you tell me about your square foot? Can you tell me about your handicap accessibility? Tell me about your commercial kitchen. Can you give me these resources on hand and roughly what kind of rent you might be looking at? And so when it is time to, you know, look or talk with the seniors and say, hey, what do you think about this location? How much square feet do you need? Is it adequate? Are we consolidating? Do we need to think about doubling our square feet? You know, what exactly are we looking at? Replacing, moving, you know, thinking, consolidating. I'm very open to investigating, and I'm passionate about learning and becoming educated. So I would like adequate time to do so. I would like to talk to the seniors in all of the different sites and do a survey and simply say, how are you getting here? Are you driving? Are you walking? Would you need transit? If we relocated, would that be an additional cost? If we moved within a 10-mile radius, would you be as apt to attend, you know, as now? Do you see a need for less or more senior centers? So I think there's a lot of information that I need. It is my intention to make the best decision for everyone, just with some further time and investigation.
I think a lot of people have brought up a lot of valid issues and variables that need to be talked about.
Excuse me,
Your name, Gene?
Identify yourself, please.
Gene Burkhammer, Munson Township resident. My wife and I have known Mary for over 40 years, right?
40 years.
She's a Republican. We're not.
40 years.
Doesn't make any difference. I trust her. She does good job for our county. But I think everyone is dancing around the political implications to this decision, which has brought this uproar and brought everybody here. And I think that's the real problem that caused all the senior citizens here to be here and to get upset about what's possibly going on. That's all I have to say.
I really believe that the commissioners, thank you, Jean. I really believe the commissioners do care about the seniors. We know that it's you that built this county long before we were here. And we know that you've put a lot of sweat into it. Many of you have been here your whole life. And I don't think we're dismissing that. We're just looking at it in a prudent way so that down the road, will be prepared for the ever-increasing senior load that we're going to have. But yeah, you are important, and I'll tell you, I remember a few years ago when my mother was alive, she had to mention, she went to the senior center, and I was so grateful that there was some place that she could go during the day that, because I took care of both my mother and my mother-in-law, and that was a godsend for us. And she'd come back happier and a little more alert, and made her last days, she got to be 90, a little bit better. But we do know that, you know, you've done a lot, and you've carried the weight. And believe me, that hasn't gone past none of us here. We know that.
The other issue I want to ask you folks, what Jessica just talked about, Jessica replaced a long-time director who had probably seen it all, or most of it, done a lot of it, and so on and so forth. What Jessica's talking about, in my mind, is fact-finding, so that she learns firsthand and doesn't take, someone says, this is the way it was done, or somebody said, that's what we need. It has to have time to do fact-finding. I'm here to tell you, the commissioners, I think I can speak for all of us, we have no axe to grind with Jessica, the way she's working, her timeline. It's you know, it would be unfair, and I don't think any of us want to be unfair in any way. But what she's saying is the same thing. You got to find the facts. Where is the trends? Where's the population centers moving, and so on. That's not to say, well, we're going to padlock the door on the place you go, but it's because we're not going to. But we need to know long-range plans. You know, what's going to happen 3 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, and how are we going to address that? Because, yeah, if we passed 2 or 3 more levies, we'd have all the money in the world. We could do anything you want. But we can't do that, and you know that as well. You know, we're all burdened with our tax things, so we're just looking for information to make sound decisions. That's
Diane. Yeah, Diane Jones, Root Township. Being both a senior citizen and a regular attendee of commissioner and other public meetings, I feel compelled to speak to this issue. I was at the meeting that is being referenced here, and you can see that we do the video. We're not the only ones who do the video, but we do the video as a public service. All right, my comment here has to do with the fact that much of what I'm hearing from the commissioners and from Jessica herself is what happened. And Jessica asked for a year to get the facts straight. One of the legitimate concerns that was raised and still needs to be addressed is the concern over signing a contract that is due on January 31st, but signing it on January 30th. And the legitimate concern that was raised was that if we have a 30-day period in which we do have the option to find other solutions, then we have that backup. Nevertheless, no one said that they were going to reject a contract, but I think it is of value to everyone in this room to know that contracts, when they come up, cannot wait until January 30th to be addressed by the commissioners when they are due for approval or failure on the 31st of the month. That's a one-day option. That puts you commissioners under undue pressure. And I think the time that is being allotted here to make this study, to make it a good and valued study, I think is a value for this whole community. And I don't think anyone should jump the gun and make any assumptions that didn't occur there. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
If I may, I would like to speak to the lease, and I will take responsibility and apologize that it did come to my attention the first week of January, and upon finding it, I did call the rent, the folks, the Patterson family, and I did work with their attorney as well as our prosecutor. So while I did act in as timely as fashion as I could, I did discover the first week of January. So I do apologize on the time frame. And moving forward, however, I'm very cognizant of putting pressure on the commissioners, and certainly want to give them as much time as possible to deliberate and think before they make a decision. So certainly I'm trying to be proactive when I talk to our prosecutor and the folks that we do rent with. So I do apologize on that.
Sir in the back.
Ed Corsi, I'm from Charter. Does anybody know how many senior citizens are in Geauga County? Does anybody know the figure? How many thousands?
It's a lot.
20,900.
20,900?
20,900? And this is all that showed up?
Well, we haven't sent the rest of them away because we didn't have enough chairs.
What are you doing here if it's minus 11? First of all, I think
there's a lot of work, there's a lot of...
I'm talking right now, excuse me. I'm a senior citizen, and I exercise at home. I have my grandchildren come over. We play with our grandchildren. We do a lot of things. And being I respect senior citizens because I'm one. But when it comes to tax money, everybody's tax money, and where it's being spent, and what are the reasons it's being spent, then that's a different story. Now, I really can't see my tax money going to these places for a small group of people to play cards and do some exercises. You can do that at home. When I was growing up, my parents had people over. People had other people over at their homes to play cards or to do whatever. And children took care of their parents. I mean, we didn't have senior centers back then. I think, I don't know where all this money is going that's being collected for the senior centers. That a lot of that money needs to be accounted for, and it isn't. And I don't see my tax money. I kind of resent my tax money being spent for a small, very small group of people who only represent a very small fraction of seniors in this county, and have my tax money to go to play cards every day. Do some exercise. And Patterson, when he sold Orchard Hills and made $3.4 million, and now he's making money off the county renting, why did he can afford to donate this building to the
He's also
seniors?
could have sold the land for a lot more money.
You don't know the sweet deal
I know
that he
that.
got.
Whoa. Calm down.
That's not the point.
If we can, let's get some order in here now.
I present the tax money being spent the way it is.
Okay.
Fine.
Sir, point taken.
Over there, I'd like to say that I'm Bob Poucher. I've been here for 40 years. And I'd like to say that the centers not only go for the people that are here, these are the ones that can make it. There's many people that are home ridden, and there's food going out to them every day of the week. And nobody can see those because they can't get out. And so his information is very incorrect.
Okay. Thank you.
Ron Wicks from Middlefield. I'm not a senior yet. I'm getting there. One of the things that senior centers do is increase the social mobility for the people that go there. It gives them a better quality of life. And that's what it's about. And they built this company. They built this country. And they deserve something for it. One of the things I would like to ask you guys to do is most of the people probably don't even realize it yet, but I would like to ask you guys to send opposition down to the governor, because there's going to be a big impact when these people start seeing that they've lost their homestead exemption.
Oh, definitely.
And I think that we need to send, as representative the seniors of the county, you need to send opposition down there. That needs to be reinstated. There's a lot of people that it's going to drive them out of their houses. you know? So I think that, I would ask you guys to do that.
Well, I think that would be something that our county auditor would probably have to respond to. As far as at Homestead, it's not gone, there's going to be what's called means testing.
Yes.
That's going to be involved in that, and that's something that if you qualify within that, within the qualifications to receive it, you'll still receive it. And as of last year, January, I believe 31st, you were able to submit and be grandfathered in. So it's not gone. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not the authority to speak on that, but I know enough to at least be able to comment on it. But I thank you for your input there. We want to try to wrap it up here. We'll take maybe 3 more questions, and then we'll just get a few final words from each of the commissioners and get the meeting to close. Ma'am?
My name is Eloise Cavalier, and I've lived here for 57 years. It'll be 58 next week. Our children were raised here. They were educated here. They've all got good jobs. We've got a lot of grandchildren. And the last 4 years of my life have been terrible. My husband had a stroke, and he was in the hospital. I had a terrible accident that I hit black ice. I totaled my car. I had throat fractures in my leg. I have a plate in here. And after I got out of the rehab after 4 months, my daughter signed me up for the senior center. I didn't want to go. I thought I got enough stuff at home. I'm going to see my husband every day at the hospital, and I don't need it. But anyhow, I went. And the first day on the bus, I met Millie Ayers, and we became good friends. The people there are lovely. We have good meals. My picture was on the front page of the News Herald. I was also in the Courier last week. Playing bingo. I got the pictures with me. I've made many friends. I don't drive anymore, so I have to rely on someone to take me someplace. But I have many, many friends there, and I love it. And I think our biggest spirit is that we would be combined with another senior citizen where we want to be in our own group. That's what we want. We love each other. We have exercise with each other. I take my slippers there and put them on, and I do my thing. And it's not just that we play cards. We've gone out to the West Side Market, we've gone to dinners, we've gone to breakfast, and we've got lovely people there. And we like to stay together, whether it be there or as good as there, but I don't think we want to combine with chagrin or with Chardon or blah, blah. That's my statement.
Thank you. Okay, 2 more. Is there anybody here that we haven't heard from, sir?
I have an issue not related to the senior center.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that we're recognized.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Jerry DeNiro. I live in Russell Township.
Okay.
I'm here to represent myself and also 2 groups. One is Bike Cleveland, which is a bike advocacy group based in Cleveland, but serves cyclists in Greater Cleveland. And I'm also a member of the leadership council of a group called the Cleveland Touring Club, which does have Cleveland in the name, but we operate and ride primarily east of 271 and south of 90 in Geauga County. So we have a petition from Bike Cleveland that 650 people have signed, and I'm not going to read it because I have a personal aversion from college, from people reading things verbatim, but basically it says, this is for the Maple Highlands Trail connection, that we believe this is an asset to Geauga County. We know that you're in a dispute involving tax revenues and the easement with the city of Chardon. We would love the bike trail connection to not be a dispute. It's something, the Maple Highlands Trail and cycling in Geauga County is something the Cleveland Touring Club in particular has supported for a long time. We've given more than $8,000 to support the Maple Highlands Trail in the past 7 years. We do a ride in Burton in June that this June, we think we'll bring 1,500 people to Burton, and for that we buy local. We buy our t-shirts from Chardon. Our caterer, one of the partners is from Middlefield. We're working with the Geauga County Tourism people with limited. She's going to have a table at our event. So I have a petition that I'd like to present to the commissioners, and anything you can tell us about the status of what's happening with Chardon and how we can get the bike trail issue out of that discussion so that it happens as planned in the summer.
I actually have been, as you could tell, I've been out sick, so there was a discussion last week that I actually was not involved in, so maybe I'll pass that to
Thank you for your
Blake
doing this. And
I would just say we're still in discussions and evaluations with our legal counsel, so we would not like to say too much about it right now. We're waiting for Ralph. We really believe that this has to be a decision by the full board, and we're not ready at this time to discuss it. But probably within the next week or two, we'll have some kind of movement of some sort.
Okay, I just want to say that as cyclists, we love Geauga County. We love to ride there. One of the reasons is we have good roads in Geauga County. And my group rides on the road, but also the Maple Highlands Trail is an asset. And for my group that rides on the road, we still ride on the Maple Highlands Trail, but we know there are a lot of people who aren't comfortable on the roads. So if you connect this trail through Chardon, you'll have a lot more people coming here to ride. So thank you.
Appreciate you coming, sir.
Mike Capizello.
Okay.
Chesterton trustee, former Geauga Park District Commissioner. And when they refer to the Maple Highlands Trail,
I can't hear you, sir.
The Geauga County Park District, in my last year, that trail will be completed. The bike trail will be completed through the Geauga County Park District. So when they refer to the Maple Highlands North and South Connector, whichever one they want to refer to, the Park District is already finishing those trails. So this group has never come to the Park Board and asked to join in any funding that I'm aware of, and I was there for 2 years as commissioner. So I don't know what legitimacy they have.
excuse me, Michael. Thank you. When you and I talked about this a week or two ago, when you told me about this, I did take the opportunity to call John Oros, the acting director, and there's some confusion. They did, what I'm told, okay, you were there. What you're referring to is the piece that goes from the existing trail out on 44 by the State Highway Barracks. And the park has already bulldozed the topsoil off last fall, and they have a couple piles of gravel, one out at that end, and the other is on 5th Avenue. It goes behind St. Mary's. But when I asked him about what I had heard for years was going to be the trail, which was supposed to go up by St. Mary's, cross North Street onto the school property, go across the school property, he said that is not the plan, and no, they didn't have the money for that. He said what was approved was this link that gets it over here to where the multi-purpose trail at Chardon is.
Have I heard you feel there?
No.
That's not how I feel, that's what he told me, that's all I'm saying. No, not by Mel Harder, it just ends by their old rubber company on 5th Avenue. And
Maybe I was misinformed.
well, I don't know, that's what he told me, so that's what I'm using as a...
Is there a map for this one?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
So, that was third person. So we've got to wrap this meeting up. I guess the final, in closing, I could say this is that I am more than glad that we have had this opportunity to air out some of the concerns, and it's you know, been a pleasure and an honor for me to be able to have seen this group come in and have you know, the strength to be able to voice their opinion as strongly as they have. And I think that we've all been able to get to a point of understanding that we do all agree that in the future something has to happen. And I think that we all understand that we aren't here to hurt the seniors. The seniors are, I think, understand that our goal is just to be able to bring more for the seniors of this county and to be able to give better quality. And it's just a major concern for us as populations continue to grow in this county that we get burdened with a lot more demand for service. And I think that I can tell you that there's been some great discussion. There's been some great points that have been made. And it's just like in anything else, there's always going to be two sides. Somebody's going to disagree, somebody's going to agree. This is the part of having the ability to communicate and reach a happy medium to be able to say we can compromise one way and another, and everybody comes out a winner in it. And I feel very, very proud to the fact that Geauga County, the seniors that have come out tonight, and especially the temperature and snow that we had tonight speaks volumes and speaks about the dedication and the desire that you have to want to keep things going and going in the right direction. And I've heard it and I've seen it, and it's definitely opened my eyes and a lot more that we just need to continue to have communication. And just like you invite us to you, I invite you to us at all times to access. Many people, I know Don, whoever sent me an email with a telephone number attached, I called. So I don't hide behind anywhere. I don't try to avoid calls or controversy. I face the issues as they come up to me. I try to make the best decisions I can, and I try to make it with the best intention as my mom and dad taught me years ago. And I respect elders. I was raised in a very strict Italian family. I'm first generation American here. Both of my parents were born in Italy, so I came up with a very, very, very strong pride and respect for my grandparents and my mom, my dad, and that's just the way that I am. So as far as you having somebody on your side, I'm the guy, and I understand that, and my heart, beats first for that. And I just want to reach out and tell you that, decisions always have to be made, but we make them with the best intentions, and we've got people on this board that are of likely feelings, and nobody wants to see anybody put in a bad situation. And yes, if there's anything.
I think Ralph did a good job at saying it, and I would say, and I would augment, you are Geauga County's greatest bounty. Thank you for being you.
And just a couple things that we got to just wrap up as an official meeting here that we've got to announce is that the meetings next week, we've got board revision that I'll be at 9 a.m. at the auditor's office. On Monday. Tuesday, the commissioners will hold a regular session. That'll be at 10 o'clock across the street. Thursday, the 6th, Leadership Government Day for the youth. The commissioners will hold regular session again on the 11th. Planning Commission meeting at 7 p.m. on the 11th. And then we have the commissioners will hold regular session in a public hearing at 10:10 regarding the Ohio Department of Transportation Specialized Transportation Program grant. That'll be on Thursday the 13th. On the 17th, we will have the Family First Council at 2 p.m. at Jobs and Family Services. And then on the 18th, we'll have our meeting again on the 18th, which will be at 10 a.m. across the street. And once again, can't thank you enough for being part of this night meeting. I hope that you guys also found a value in having a meeting that everybody was able to be here for, and this was the ultimate goal of us wanting to put something here, because we can have this, and that was designed by nature. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you.